Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor of the Tenkar's Tavern blog. If I sound congested, I've got the COVID. Yes, probably on, by my reckoning, day four. What would have been day two, I tested. Rach was positive, I was negative. But tested again today. And yep, I've got the vid, man. I got the vid. So, what is today's topic? Well, today we're looking at the Gygax Memorial Fund. Why are we looking at the Gygax Memorial Fund? Well, it's been a tax exempt fund, not for profit, since April of 2011. Wow. All right, so that's 12-year anniversary. Go, go, go. Right? Give them a huge round of applause. So, when we look at this, well, why are we looking at this? Well, because I have heard through rumors from Gary Khan, well sourced, multiple sources, because apparently somebody was talking about this and trying to pitch it. Um, Paul Stormberg, who you may know from his auctions, a lot of RPG related auctions. He's the one that got access to Gary's collection. And if you were following what's going on this week, the Gygax estate, the will, is actually in court this week. Um, that's going to decide the final control over that estate. But that probably only came up because Paul was cataloging and putting estimated value on it, and the value became significant. So, Paul is also, at this point, I believe, the president, president of the Gygax Memorial Fund. Now, why is that important? Well, because Paul was apparently pitching the idea that there's going to be a crowdfund project for this summer to crowdfund the Gygax Memorial in Lake Geneva. Now, this fund was started 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And we've got bupkis to show for it. Now, a lot of people gave money with good intent. A lot of people donated their time with good intent. So let's take a look at the history. Right, by the way, right now it's valued at just over 195,000 at the end of 2020. They're saying the IRS is delayed in processing and releasing nonprofit filings because we probably should have 2021 in here by now. We don't. I would blame that on the COVID. So in 2021, they took in 15,000. All right, and they had total functional expenses of 12,800. That was probably, I'm guessing, office equipment, setting up stuff like that. Next year, they took in 123. Expenses were 3,800. Not too bad. I believe that was the auction at Gen Con. 2013, 94,000. 94,000, that was the year of the reprint books for AD&D 1E. If you got the ones with the gold trim on the edge of the pages, a portion of those funds went toward this. And that put the fund at a net asset of 222,000 in 2013. Now, 10 years later, the funds lost a significant amount of money. But why is that? Well, 2014 total revenues dropped to 421. 2015, 566, and then 2016, $10. $10. Just gonna repeat that. $10. 2017, $235, but with expenses of over 2,100. 2018, $10. There were expenses of over 6,800. I believe that is when the guy who did the Fawn statue got involved in getting a prototype or getting the plans together for what was going to be like the Fonzarelli Gygax statue. The following year, 2019, $101. And there was almost 32 in fund expenses because Paul Stormberg, that's the year he took over as, well, he was vice president that year. Gail was president, and her sister Diane was secretary and treasurer. Paul was compensated. Now, this is the first time, if you look back, that anybody took compensation from the fund. Interesting. So Paul's first year with the fund, he gets compensated $2,500 as vice president. Paul, in his second year with the fund in 2020, is president, takes no compensation. The fund takes in all of $20 in 2020, and the fund is valued at less than, for the first time in a long time, in a decade, under $200,000, $195,000. So now, the game plan is, from what I've been told, again, multiple sources, they're all pretty much agreeing on this. The details might be a little flaky, but we're in April. This is probably looking at July, August. It is to raise money for a stone table with stone benches, presumably in a spot that Gail's been fighting for years, that Lake Geneva has not been wanting to give her. But either as it may, it's going to be a stone table with stone benches, and then this is either going to make you really excited or really skeeved out. There's going to be a statue of Gary as your DM with dice in hand, so you can literally sit at the table with Gary rolling dice at your physically virtual gaming table. I'm confused. They're going to raise money for this memorial. Now, again, they haven't treated this memorial seriously in a number of years. And when I say they, I'm just saying in general, the key employees and officers of the memorial have not treated it seriously in years. There's been no real push to raise money. The website was down for a long time. You can buy bricks. Now, I'm not going to go into... Gail's been talking about bricks since 2015, probably. And the bricks initially were to... You would buy a brick for however many dollars. I don't know, and I'm not going to throw a number out there. And with that brick, you were funding the maintenance. Because, by the way, that's another part of this. You have to pay for the maintenance for, I guess, the Lake Geneva Parks Commission or whatever to maintain that memorial. It isn't free. They got to clean it and, I guess, trim the plants around it or whatever, right? And these bricks were supposed to support a fund that would keep the memorial clean. But there is a belief that on somebody's part that this is going to be a huge success, this memorial. And while I have fond memories of playing AD&D back in the day, when he was my preferred system, while I have memories of speaking with Gary on EN World, my dealings personally with Gail over the years does not leave me with much confidence in this being anything that could be considered a success. Now, I don't know what the $6,700 in expenses was for this prior year. I personally think it's inconsequential. I mean, this fund, you would think, even if you're earning 1% interest, this fund would have earned, I don't know, $20,000 over the last 10 years. It would put it pretty much back at its starting spot. It would have had all this extra cash to spend on sculptors and stuff to do their design work. So I don't have any inside information as to how well this is being run. My view from the outside looking in is it doesn't look like it's been run all that well. We were supposed to get an audit at one point. Gail promised an audit. And then shortly thereafter, I don't know how long exactly, maybe a few weeks after she shared that on Facebook, she deleted that comment. I still have it. I can go back and show you that post from Gail that they were going to do an audit to show that all these monies were appropriate. That was probably back in 2016 or so. Yeah, no, we haven't seen that, right? So there are probably, my opinion, going to be better opportunities for you to crowd fund your monies this summer. All right, there's a lot of crowdfunding projects that usually release in the summertime. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of game systems. Maybe you do want to, buy a brick. I don't know what the bricks are going to be priced at. But if you look at the track record of the Gygax Memorial Fund to date, you look at the revenues brought in on a yearly basis, $20 in 2020, $101 in 2019. Now, these are 2 years, by the way, where Paul Stormberg is part of the team, right? You can't just blame this on Gail, okay? You can't say, oh, well, this is all Gail's fault. No, in 2019, he was the vice president taking compensation. In 2020, he was the president. Gail is even off the list of key employees. So Paul, under his sole watch, brought in $20 in 2020. I don't know how effective it's going to be to crowdfund a project that is this long in the tooth based upon Gary's name. I don't know. Now, maybe we'll see something come out of the current legal action, the court case that's going on about the will. Maybe there'll be enough money from that to be able to pay for an actual memorial. We'll see. I just don't know if crowdfunding is the solution, because the time to strike was probably a decade ago. And this has just been wallowing and rotting away at the vine. So, what do you think? What do you know? Actually, are you one of those people back when the Gygax Memorial Fund listed, like, I don't know, 40 people as involved with the team and prominently displayed on the website? And then when we started digging, me and a few others, the vast majority of those people had no idea that they were considered part of the Gygax Memorial Fund and that their names were being used, I guess, kind of to help raise money. That's the history of the fund as I know it. So maybe Paul has some grand plans. Maybe he has an actual plan. I don't know if Gail ever had an actual plan. I'd like to know about it. Again, at this point, this to me is one of those dead projects that you got to look at every 6 months to a year and remind people that it existed and say, this is where your money went. And there's still money there. Has it been used on scholarships like they mentioned? Why? I don't know. That's one thing you could have done positively with that money. Hell, if you were earning 1%, you could have given away $20,000 in scholarships over the last decade. So, let me know what you think. Let me know what you heard. If you heard something at GaryCon yourself, I'd like to know about it. I'd like to hear. Because you know what? Sometimes same people hear the same story, but they hear different things. I'd like to know if I'm missing something. Maybe there's some great plan behind this. That's going to be awesome. And maybe I missed out on that part. Let me know. Folks, as always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. I will be back again tomorrow with a live stream. I did my live stream yesterday, coughing and blowing my nose. Hopefully I'll be better tomorrow. We shall see. All right, folks. God bless. Laters.